Have you ever wondered why some cars become legends while others fade into history? The 1969 Dodge Charger is often hailed as a classic muscle car, but what if I told you there's a dark side to this icon that's been lost to time? This isn't just another story of horsepower and chrome, it's a journey into the forgotten, the bizarre, and the downright strange. In the next few minutes, you'll discover weird, little-known facts about the Charger that will completely change how you view it. From prototypes that never saw the light of day to hidden details that history overlooked, you're about to uncover a side of this car that even the most dedicated enthusiasts don't know. Stick around, because this classic isn't just a car. It's a legend with secrets waiting to be revealed. The Charger's obsession with overheating. The 1969 Dodge Charger's raw power was legendary thanks to the 426 Hemi engine. With 425 horsepower under the hood, it quickly became the muscle car of choice for speed lovers. But behind the power, there was a hidden flaw. The engine generated so much heat that it often struggled to keep its cool. During long drives at high speeds, overheating became a real issue, sometimes leading to warped cylinder heads and costly repairs. While the Charger was designed to dominate the drag strip, this cooling problem often turned it into an unreliable machine on longer runs. Imagine the excitement of owning one of these beasts, only to face the frustration of a breakdown because the engine simply couldn't handle its own power. It was a classic case of too much force without enough control, a trait that made the Charger both awe-inspiring and sometimes sadly unmanageable. The Charger's murderous suspension system. Despite its powerful V8 engine, the 1969 Charger's suspension system was often a disaster in disguise. While the car looked aggressive, its front suspension wasn't up to the task of handling the raw power beneath the hood. With the car's heavy body and hefty engine, every high-speed corner or sharp turn became a battle for control. Owners quickly learned that this wasn't a car made for precision. It was all about brute force. At high speeds, it wasn't uncommon for the Charger to fishtail or lose grip, making it a true wild ride. This didn't matter much to those who loved the power. After all, muscle cars are about unleashing raw strength. But for those who pushed the Charger to its limits, the suspension issues created an unpredictable experience that could turn dangerous when least expected. The Charger's unsettling weight distribution. While the Charger's power made it a beast on the road, its weight distribution often made it feel more like a heavy tank than a precision machine. With over 3,500 pounds of steel, the Charger's front-heavy design gave it a tendency to underperform in handling situations. The rear wheels, though perfect for acceleration, couldn't compensate for the lack of balance when it came to braking or turning at high speeds. It was a muscle car with raw power, but that weight often made it a handful to control, especially on winding roads. Imagine feeling the force of the car's acceleration, but fighting against the stubborn weight on every sharp turn. That was the reality for anyone brave enough to take this muscle car for a spin on anything but a straight road. It was the perfect car for speed, but demanded respect from anyone who dared to push it beyond its limits. The Charger's secret racing engine options. The 1969 Dodge Charger was famed for its Hemi engine, but there's a lesser-known secret that makes this car even more intriguing. It had racing engine options that never saw the light of day. Dodge had a series of experimental engines designed specifically for NASCAR, but only a few select models were ever equipped with them. These engines were monstrous, built with insane specifications that would have made the Charger even more untamed. The idea of owning a car with a racing engine locked away in its core is tantalizing. What if these engines had been released to the public? Would the Charger have become an even greater legend? A car that wasn't just about street racing, but also about dominating every form of competition? Instead, these engines stayed hidden, a what could have been that haunts the legacy of the 1969 Charger. The Charger's failed safety design. Safety features in the 1960s weren't exactly a priority, and the 1969 Dodge Charger was no exception. While it was one of the fastest, most iconic muscle cars ever built, the Charger had a dark side when it came to safety. In crash tests, the Charger's weak bumpers proved to be a liability, often resulting in frame damage in low-speed collisions. The Charger's aggressive styling, designed to make it look fast and fierce, came at the expense of crash safety. Even the glass was notoriously thin, making it prone to shattering. In a time when muscle car culture was all about thrill, the Charger's lack of safety features made it a dangerous ride, especially for those who pushed it to the limit. As an owner, the thrill of owning a piece of automotive history would have been overshadowed by the nagging worry about what would happen if something went wrong. It wasn't just about speed, it was about survival. And the Charger wasn't exactly designed with that in mind. The Charger struggles with gas mileage. The muscle car era was all about excess power, speed, and style. But one downside of the 1969 Charger's enormous 440 Magnum and Hemi engines was their insatiable thirst for fuel. These engines were magnificent, but they came at the price of terrible gas mileage. Most drivers were lucky to get more than 8 miles per gallon, making the Charger one of the least fuel-efficient cars of its time. At a time when gas prices were steadily rising, the Charger quickly became a financial burden for its owners, especially those who wanted to drive it regularly. The excitement of owning this beast was often dampened by the constant trips to the gas station, draining wallets just as fast as it drained its fuel tank. It was a performance car with an endless appetite, turning what should have been a joyride into a series of expensive stops for refueling. The Charger's rushed assembly line mistakes. The 1969 Charger was a work of art, a muscle car that captivated enthusiasts and set performance records. But its assembly was marred by rushed production in an attempt to meet the overwhelming demand. As a result, many Chargers rolled off the assembly line with glaring defects, misaligned body panels, faulty electrical systems, and even inconsistent paint jobs. These mistakes tarnished the car's otherwise flawless image, frustrating many buyers who paid top dollar for a car that wasn't always up to spec. While the Charger's aggressive design and power made it iconic, its assembly line flaws created a lasting reputation for quality control issues. For many owners, the beauty of the car was only skin deep, and the underlying defects made ownership more of a hassle than the thrill they had imagined. The car's legacy was forever tied to these imperfections, despite its undeniable impact on muscle car culture. And that's a wrap on the dark, forgotten versions of the 1969 Dodge Charger. From secret prototypes to hidden engine options, these lost variants left an indelible mark on its legacy. Which lost Charger would you have loved to see on the streets? Drop a comment below and subscribe for more hidden automotive stories.